What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Game Changers. I'm your host and founder, your boy, your cousin, your nephew, your friend, your homie, Jalen Tart, and along with me are my guys, Joe and Xavier. So it's a lot of breaking news this week, a lot of craziness that happened over the weekend with the NFL and the NBA and stuff like that. So let's not waste no more time. Let's dive right into it. So, fellas, we're gonna start it off with this or that for the NFL divisional round. So, fellas, it was a lot of upsets in the NFL this week. Well, last week, should I say? Many unexpected teams coming out, doing what they got to do. So, we're going to start it off with the first few games that's going to be happening. So, fellas, who do you got? The Rams or Green Bay?
Oh, that's a good one. Because if you want to break it down like a fraction, then it's going to be the Green Bay offense,
Mm-hmm.
Rams defense. I mean, the Rams defense last week put on a show against Russell Wilson and the offense of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And the matchup everybody is looking for and expecting to binge is Devontae Adams and Jalen Ramsey, because Jalen Ramsey did an amazing job holding DK Metcalf, a top five receiver in this year's league. I mean, like like I said, it's gonna be LA's defense versus Green Bay's offense. I mean, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams have been having that chemistry. Uh, Offensively, LA gotta do better. Defensively, I mean, you got Aaron Donald. The man has like 18, 19, 20 sacks this year, possibly a defensive player of the year. Probably not because TJ Watt might win it, but that's neither here nor there. But it can it can go in a lot of ways. So if I had to choose, I'm gonna say Green Bay just by three, because I just don't think that offense of Seattle, I mean not Seattle, of LA is gonna come through. I don't think Jared Goff is not gonna be the old Jared Goff.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Zay and pick Green Bay. Um, the defense is going to be pretty good, I believe, but the matchup, like Zay said, will be Devontae Adams versus Jalen Ramsey. I'm excited to see that matchup. It's going to be like a Odell Beckham Jr. versus Josh Norman,
Yes,
2.0
sir.
in a way. But I say Green Bay because um, Rams offense is really not that good to me. Um, yes, they got Cooper Cup, Robert Woods, those guys. But on the defensive side of the ball, Jared Goff going to have Preston Smith, Jadarius Smith, Desmond King can cover Cooper Cup, and Jerry Alexander can cover Robert Woods. So I'm going to trust Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to say that the Green Bay Packers will win the game 28-24.
Honestly, my take on this is it's I love the way the Rams came out last week against the Seattle Seahawks and pressured Russell Wilson. Yes, he did try to come through with DK Metcalf, but when watching the game, they had some miscommunication issues and it caused a little bit of problems with Pete Carroll on the offensive. I think believe the Divisional coordinator. I believe one of the coordinators they got fired. Um, I have faith in the Rams. They're the number one vocal defense in the league with Aaron Donald, who I personally believe who will be a future MVP in the league. But the way that they was running the ball with Akers last week, if they can do the same thing again, they might actually have a shot of dethroning who I personally believe is a Super Bowl favorites for this year of Aaron Rodgers. Um, you know, Many people thought that Goff was not that good of a quarterback, but I personally have faith in him. He could throw the ball when he needs to. Basically, he can run the ball with his legs, but they have a good running attack, and it was shown last week against the Seattle Seahawks. But the story is, can Aaron Donald be consistent against Aaron Rodgers by putting pressure on Aaron Rodgers? And I think that he can. So I'm gonna have to side with the LA Rams. The
And
next
to
game we
and to,
got the
and to
next.
add to that,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, to add to that, my fault. like I feel like Aaron Donald is going to get double teamed. He's going the offensive line for Green Bay is going to help him. I mean, Aaron Donald is not your average defensive lineman, inside defensive lineman. He's not like six. He's not like no bigger than 6'3", if 6'2", 6'3" by the average defensive line. He's 6 foot, 280, 290 pounds, full muscle, no fat whatsoever.
Right.
So yeah, that offensive line of Green Bay is gonna help him.
Okay. So if we don't have any more to say, we can move on to the next game. So Tampa Bay and New Orleans. Tom Brady versus Drew Brees 3. Joe, who do you got taking the third matchup?
Oh Jesus! Tom Brady versus Drew Brees for the third time. Mm. Let me see. Okay, so I do believe that Tampa Bay is going to win, and here's why: because it's the postseason instead of regular season. Regular season, Breeze and the Saints just dethroned the Buccaneers, but Tom Brady in the playoffs is just too dangerous. That's why he's the GOAT. And with the weapons that he has, and they, building their chemistry with Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, Scotty Miller. Those guys are just they can get open, they can get separation, and I just believe that the Drew Brees can't beat Tom Brady three times like a year. It never really happened. So I'm going to say Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 35-31.
Okay.
Okay, so it can go in a lot of ways for me. Uh, Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. Um, I don't really like him, but I respect his game. That's the first thing. Number two, he never been in a situation where he got beaten three times in one season. Number three, yeah, like it's going to be a shootout to me. It's really going to be a shootout because you got two legendary quarterbacks over 40 have have a lot of weapons, a plethora of weapons on their offense, have a great defensive line. Um, New Orleans beat them on that secondary. I just don't think Tampa Bay their secondary is good, but New Orleans secondary is better. But it's going to be a back and forth game. It's going to be who wants it more, like I always say. So I would not be surprised if this game go to overtime. But Tom Brady never been in this situation. So I'm gonna choose Tampa Bay, but I would not be surprised if New Orleans gets a win. And I'm gonna say the score 38-35. Tampa Bay.
So yes, Xavier, I do agree with your point saying with Tom Brady has never been in this situation where he has gotten beat by the same opponent three times, especially in the division. You play them twice. It was close the first time at New Orleans, and then New Orleans just ran through you, dominated you at Tampa Bay. Now, they are the hottest team coming into the playoffs. One of the hottest teams coming into the playoffs. The office is finally clicking. They're on the same page. Bruce Arians is like, okay, we got to play now that we're in this tournament. But yes, you have Tom Brady, you have Mike Evans, and you have Gronkowski and those boys. But the one player that I believe that will give them a little bit of a boost is Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown has been coming up clutch for them as of lately. He's finally coming back to his senses, running his routes, and we're starting to see the old Antonio Brown again. If he can do some of that in this game, they have a chance of beating them. I am very suspect of their defense because they have allowed so many points from opponents in the divisional rounds. But I think that Tom Brady in the clutch will deliver once again. So I have Tom Brady winning the game 30-27.
All right. I like how we all agreed about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Right. So the next game we have is the Baltimore Ravens on the road in the Buffalo snow going up against the Buffalo Bills. Xavier, I know this is your. Do you believe that Lamar Jackson has a shot in the snow? Yes or no?
Okay. So if I want to think about this in a real life perspective, he hasn't really played in the snow, but he's played in cold weather in Baltimore. Like Baltimore in Maryland is cold. Um, I feel like it's going to be an offensive game, but it's going to be that Ravens rush attack, like always, versus that Bills passing attack with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. And it's kind of a question that popped up last minute for me. And who's gonna cover Stephon Diggs? It was the same thing with like AJ Brown. Like Marlon Humphrey got beat, but he didn't get beat by much by AJ Brown because Marlon Humphreys is more of a linebacker, safety corner type corner because like he forced fumbles, he's aggressive with it. That's why he was on AJ Brown last week, and I feel like he's gonna be on Stephon Diggs because he's aggressive and he has that mobility. But if it doesn't work, you can go with Marcus Peters, and I think because they have like arguably one of the best corner duos in the game. But I feel like my Ravens have the rush attack like always, and you just can't stop it. I mean, like it's just how it is. But and I feel like our defense is really going to step up. If you can neutralize, I know this is two different scenarios, but like if you can neutralize King Henry to 40 yards and 18 carries with no touchdowns, then you can neutralize Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Smokey Brown, the former Raven. So I got my Ravens 23, Bills 20.
That was some good points. But here's the thing. Y'all really came out, Zay, last week with the rush attack with Lamar, um, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins was incredible. I didn't listen to you, and I apologize. I'm just going to say that, but I'm still not going to listen to you right now. I got the Bills. I got the Bills 27-23 because I do believe Josh Allen is going to deliver, even if it's not Stephon Diggs. He got more weapons like Cole Beasley. Um, yeah, I think Buffalo will have a game plan for Lamar Jackson. So that's why I picked the Buffalo Bills winning 27-23. Sorry, Zay, I can't listen to you again.
All right, fellas.
Wait.
All right, fellas. Lamar Jackson. We know how dynamic of a player this kid is. He can run the ball. He can pass the ball. When he needs to pass the ball, he can pass the ball. When it's snowing and it turns to ice, it makes it hard for runners to run and just stay on top of people when running the football in the snow. This will be a problem that I want to see if Lamar Jackson can face. And I honestly think that he will struggle, but I really want to see how he'll do. With that being said, I got to go with the Buffalo Bills. When Stephon Diggs gets into that rhythm, it's hard to stop him. It's so hard to stop him. And Josh Allen can throw dimes like Mac Jones did in the national championship game against Ohio State. He can throw those dimes. He can rush for that first down. My only concern is the defense trying to stop Lamar Jackson if he does burst into that running attack against the Bills. Because now think about it. The Ravens do have the number one rushing attack, but they have the worst passing attack in the league, which is bad. You know, the Bills they're just too balanced. They're way too balanced. They do have a good running attack when it needs to be efficient, but that passing attack by Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs is going to be too much. I had the Bills up 21-10. 21-10.
Yeah.
Just 10 points, Jalen.
21
10
10.
points.
21 to 10.
Oh, that's kind of harsh. Only
21 to
10
10.
points.
21 to,
That's just
I think Lamar. I think that snow is just gonna slow him down. You know, his speed is gonna melt just a little bit. He's just gonna slow down. But the last and final game, the reigning Super Bowl champs and the underdog Cleveland Browns against the Kansas City Chiefs. Xavier, who you got? Do you? Let me ask you this: with the win over Pittsburgh, are you impressed by it, given the momentum going into this game, or do you think Kansas City will shut it all down?
Man, I'm not gonna sleep on the Browns, man. Never did. I never did personally sleep on the Browns, but like I said, it's gonna be a shootout. Like you got two great offenses going at it head to head. You have, if I mean, Kansas City's defense is not weak, but Cleveland's defense is stronger than Kansas City's defense. But you got Patrick Mahomes, Le'Veon Bell, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins, DeMarcus Robinson, Miko Hardman. He has all those weapons on the offense, and they build up, and they kept building and building and building. But then Cleveland, you got Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt when you're in the red zone, Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, Rashard Higgins, Peoples Jones. Like the Browns are an underdog team, and I feel like it's going to be a high scoring game because I feel like the defense of Cleveland is going to try to rush Patrick Mahomes, but I know Patrick Mahomes is not going to go down. Either he's going to throw the ball away or he's going to make some magic happen. So I'm not going to be surprised if it goes to overtime. So if I had to choose who, I see the Kansas City Chiefs going down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good point.
Okay,
that's a strong take. That's a
48
strong take.
48 it's gonna go down to what? 48-45. Cleveland.
All right.
Zay, you've been my best friend since probably seventh grade, but you totally out of your mind. Let me tell y'all something. I watched that Steelers game, and I just thought of it's not really like similar because Steelers cause more turnovers. I looked at that game as Ohio State versus Clemson. Nobody really expected Ohio State to win. I didn't expect it because I'm a Clemson fan. But let me tell you something. Browns fans don't get upset at me, but the Browns are going to go down. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Off the bat, the Chiefs coming off a first round bye. You got the best quarterback really right now in Patrick Mahomes with all those weapons. On the defensive side, you got Chris Jones, the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. Those guys are going to step up. They've been rested up. This is really not going to be close, in my opinion. I'm going to have to say the Kansas City Chiefs 35-14.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Win about 21.
Everybody good takes. So when I watched the game leading up to the kickoff, okay, when they kicked it off, I was like, all right, they did a touchback against this is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. So when Ben Roethlisberger, mighty old Ben Roethlisberger, comes out on the field, set up in the formation, and I was like, okay, I'm thinking this is about to be a good game. Once that ball went over his head and Cleveland went into the end zone with the ball, I was like, oh, this took me by surprise. So I didn't know what to expect. I was like, okay, this is just 7 points. And Ben comes right back out, throws an interception. I was like, wow. When I tell you Baker Mayfield was balling in that third possession when he threw that pass, through the slant route pass to Jarvis Landry, and Jarvis Landry took it to the house, I was like, Cleveland has risen up to the moment because I thought Cleveland was going to choke. I really thought Cleveland was going to choke because I picked Cleveland to win last week. I think this is going to be a deja vu with what happened to Pittsburgh, it's gonna happen to Kansas City. I think it's gonna happen to Kansas City. Um, the Cleveland Browns have to control the pace of the game. If they can control the pace of the game and score on majority of their drives, they have a shot of winning. And they have to run the football. You have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who are your two-headed monsters of running the football. You have Jarvis Landry, who is now the number one receiver. It's not Odell now because he's hurt. And you have Rashad Higgins, who I believe who's going to have a breakout game when we're all looking for him to have a breakout game, but he needs to have a breakout game against the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Kansas City Chiefs aren't going to go away that easily, like how the Pittsburgh Steelers did. I have it 28-21 Cleveland.
Y'all, look, y'all not understanding that Pittsburgh was like actually struggling. Like I said last week, I think ever since they lost to the Washington football team, they showed their true colors. Kansas City never slowed down. Patrick Mahomes not going to slow down because listen, he's the best quarterback in the league right now, hands down. With Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in that point of view, Chris Jones is going to stuff them up. I'm telling you. And in the air, with if he passes to Jarvis Landry, the Honey Badger is just going to get it. I'm telling y'all this right now. I understand, and I'm not dissing the Cleveland Browns because that was an impressive win, and I'm proud. But come on, man, come on, guys. Y'all know that defense is not ready for Mahomes. They're not ready for Mahomes.
I agree that defense wins championships, but at the same time, if you can throw the ball where you have to make explosive plays to set up your running game, that's going to help you win the game, in my honest opinion.
And guess what? Big Ben is not a dual threat quarterback, but Patrick Mahomes
no,
is.
Man.
No, listen, because Patrick Mahomes can run on his feet too. He really can run, on his feet. So he's just not going to stand in there like Big Ben and just take sacks and make bad decisions. He move around. I mean, he do no look passes. He gonna throw one probably to Travis Kelce in the end zone.
Hey,
I mean, come on now.
But you see how that defense was
competing. Y'all know this.
So do you see how the defense was competing against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Those first three series, they was bullying them. They was bullying them around.
Exactly.
I get that Myles Garrett. Hold on, guys. I get that Myles Garrett did not have a good game, but the linebackers in the secondary was all over them. Juju Smith-Schuster, and what the Corvette, whatever he was doing. You need to ban that. He's not the best receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, so you got to stop doing all that.
I feel like
too much not playing.
And I feel like with Chris Jones, getting to Baker Mayfield, yeah, that's true. But at the same point in time, you probably going to line up against like either Jedrick Wills or Jack Collins, one of those tackles, or you one of those guards. But in a sense, they're going to like help him. They're going to double team Chris Jones because they know he's a threat on that defense. But that Kansas City defense is not. They're good, but they're not amazing.
Right.
They're not great to Cleveland's defense. Cleveland got Myles Garrett, BJ Goodson, Taki.
Man, look.
Hey, that whole secondary is just good. All right. But still, the Honey Badger Tyrann Mathieu has came onto his own. But like I said, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be probably the most viewed game. Second, if that, between Tampa Bay and New Orleans. But I just don't think Kansas City is going to go down. They only took one loss this year, and that was against Vegas. And Vegas was like 7-9, 8-8, whatever the record was. So I'm not sleeping on the Browns, man. The Browns might
see. Right. And if the Chiefs does lose, I will go on each of my social media. I will go on my social media and I will apologize publicly to the fans because I just don't see it. I don't know what y'all see. I just don't see it.
I just want to get the last word. this game will show us two things. Does Baker Mayfield live up to the height of beating the Chiefs, or does this show a sign where Kansas City is too good, and how far will the Browns go leading up to the loss of the Kansas City Chiefs? Because they beat off one of the best teams in the division, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they was digressing. They came out flat. I don't think Kansas City is going to come out flat, but I think the Cleveland Browns will take it to them. They're not going to give up easily from what I've seen. But moving on now. So breaking news this week. So the Brooklyn Nets have acquired James Harden after he came out publicly after the Los Angeles Lakers game, saying that he wanted out. He said that he loved the city of Houston and he done everything that he can and he wanted out. So 24 hours later, he came. The Brooklyn Nets have acquired James Harden in a three-way deal with Brooklyn acquiring James Harden and with Cleveland and Indiana, with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers. So Karis LeVert, Dante Exum, Rodions, Carricks, and 4 first-round picks are going to, I believe, Cleveland. And Jared Allen and Tyron Prince going to the Cavaliers. And the Rockets are expanding the deal to send Karis LeVert to the Indiana Pacers for Victor Oladipo. So what team won this trade and what team digressed from this trade? And how does James Harden fit into the Brooklyn Nets with the Kyrie Irving situation?
Joe, go first. You got a lot of things to say.
Joe, if you want to go first, Joe, you can go first. Because originally
All
it
right.
was going to go to X, but Joe, go ahead.
All right. Listen, y'all. I know some of y'all gonna look at me funny, but the Houston Rockets won this trade. Yes, the Nets got James Harden, but I mean, where everything that's going on in Brooklyn, Kyrie's not playing. Um, it's just a mess right now, and James Harden got to get back in shape. He's not going to just do that over 3 games like that. But yeah, the Rockets won this trade because they still got a young player in Victor Oladipo and Dante Exum, who he really, some of y'all probably don't know him like that, but he was pretty good. And with some draft picks, and the Pacers got Karis LeVert, which he's going to do damage in Indiana, and the Cavs got Jared Allen and Teron Prince. Rockets won that trade because they got a lot of picks and Victor Oladipo, and the Nets got to find their way again, man, because it's pretty much toxic over there in Brooklyn. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, they lost 2 of their key bench players in Karis LeVert and Jared Allen,
Right.
and Tarian Prince. Well, 3 of them I meant.
Mhm.
So let's just see how it plays out. I'm not going to say anything bad, so I'm just going to say Rockets won the trade.
Okay. Xavier, we got running out of time here, so just make it brief on what you got to say, and I'll make a brief statement after you. Go ahead.
All right. So with that James Harden trade, I'm not surprised that he went to Brooklyn. Number 2, everybody's overhyping it. Number 3, I feel like Houston won it, but also Cleveland won that trade too, because Cleveland's being like a underdog team in the East, and they're like coming out because they got like Andre, and they got like big men now. I mean, you just added another big man to your roster. You got Jared Allen, Kevin Love, Andre Drummond, Colin Sexton, J.D. Osman. Uh, Man, James Harden, yeah, he got to get back in shape. That man being too many pregame meals. Another thing, that man been crying. He been crying, whining, needed his bottle. Like, God, man, if I wanted to listen to that, I could have had a girlfriend by now if then. But anyway, but yeah, James Harden, they lost. Brooklyn lost that trade. I don't care what anybody has to say about that. They lost this indefinitely. I mean, we don't. I don't know how he's going to do in the East, but it's going to take us some time. And you reunite with KD. I mean, it might be like Russell and James Harden all over again. And another thing, Houston is toxic. We just seen what happened in with the Texans. Now the Rockets are being like a little toxic organization now. I mean, it's not really the Rockets are not toxic, but the Texans is toxic. But the Rockets, I mean, we've seen Boogie Cousins disrespect James Harden in a very disrespectful manner, and he just kept it a stat. But James Harden, oh man, Lord.
Um, when the trade happened, I thought somebody it was fake. I thought it was fake because it was too early. You know, he just came out last night. Well, should I say Tuesday night, saying that he wanted out. He publicly made it clear that he wanted out. So I didn't understand how how four teams, excuse me, took 24 hours to make this deal happen. You know, KD's been wanting James Harden to come to Brooklyn for so long. And he's been made it clear that he wanted out. He either wanted to go to Philadelphia or he wanted to go to the Brooklyn. And it happened. I have to agree with you, Xavier. The Brooklyn Nets had lost this trade. For you to send Jared Allen, who is your rim protector and is a defensive player as a center, for him to go to Cleveland along with JaVale McGee, who is also a rim protector, and Kevin Love, who is a post player, who is a dynamic two-way post player, that's bad. Because that leaves you with DeAndre Jordan being the only center, and you have to have Kevin Durant play two positions. That's bad. I believe Indiana, with the acquisition of Caris LeVert, will make their backcourt more dangerous with Sabonis. We know Sabonis was an all-star last year, averaging the points that he was averaging. Now you have an aggressive scorer who can drive the ball to them, and you have what's the dude name? Brogdon. Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon, who is also there too. They have a nice little backcourt. Now all they need is a center, and they're straight. The Houston Rockets, they got majority of the cake. They got majority of the grand prize with this. For you to keep John Wall and Boogie Cousins, and now for you to also have who is it? So I'm reading it right now. Victor Oladipo, who averaging 20 points a game. I thought when he was going to come back with Indiana, they were going to be straight too. But now that he's gone with Houston, with John Wall, that's scary. That is scary. I mean, yes, you still need a center because I think they're still suffering the repercussions of trading. What's
Capella?
Yeah, Clint Capella. Thank you, Xavier. We're trading Clint Capella to Atlanta. They still need a center. But man, you adding a two-way star of shooting and mid-range with John Wall who can attack the basket, and then you have Boogie Cousins coming off the bench. I think Boogie Cousins coming off the bench is not going to be good enough. You gotta start him. I know Steven Silas, you know, he's gone through a lot for his first year, but he has not taken a loss so far. It would have been different if they didn't get a superstar that they need. But the way I'm going to end it like this. James Harden has become the biggest crybaby for our generation with the Houston Rockets. He's been wanting out for so long. You know, you started out with you by yourself, then you wanted Chris Paul to come. You go to the Western Conference Finals and you lose. If Chris Paul didn't get hurt in the Western Conference Finals, they would have had a legitimate shot of making it to the NBA Finals. Then you get Russell Westbrook. You know, you play with Russell Westbrook in OKC. You try that out for 1 year with Mike D'Antoni. We knew Mike D'Antoni was the problem. He is let go. And then along with Daryl Morey, he's gone. But then James Harden had no say in it. Then you get Silas, who is an African-American coach who has coached 20 years in the league. I don't understand how you don't want to partner up with your own kind to want to go to Steve Nash, who is like a Steve Kerr for the Golden State Warriors. I just don't understand that. I don't understand that. With him going to Brooklyn, it's going to be so much of I want the ball. I want the ball. Pass me the ball. Let me do my thing. Pass me the ball. That's going to be too much. It was going to be way too much.
Hey, I got two things to say off of this.
Go ahead.
For James Harden, for one, like I know I went on my little rant about Harden. So it's basically like if it's not my way, he has that mindset is like if it's not my way, then it's the highway.
Right.
Thing. Karis LeVert, I'm actually happy he went to somewhere else. He
I'm
actually
not.
get start.
I'm not because that's gonna
And,
hurt them. It's gonna
I mean
hurt.
that's gonna hurt them, but that's gonna make him shine even more. So he
Right.
can get that so he can get the actual no know the popularity and like
Yep.
the notoriety back on in Indiana. I mean, because like he was a starter, now he got benched. He was a six man, and now he's back to being possibly being a starter again in Indiana, and actually going to be doing some scoring with Domantas Sabonis, who is coming up on his own.
Joe, you got anything last remarks you want to say about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Zay. That is pretty good. Karis LeVert is a bucket. I mean, he really gets buckets. I don't think it was a bad trade. He's gonna explode with Indiana. Um, so yeah, I think Indiana did a did well with the trade too. That's
I
all
think
my input on it.
I think everybody did great on this trade except for Brooklyn.
I agree.
Because with this whole Kyrie Irving situation where he's taking personal reasons to be done, I just think that he needs to step away to clear his head. He needs to take the Michael Jordan route where he needs to step away, clear his head, and whenever he's ready to come back, he'll come back. Fellas, we're gonna end it right here. Thank everybody for joining in, tuning in for to the episode, and we'll see you next week for the next episode. Peace, y'all.
Peace.